The reservation was for 8 o'clock at Meridian, the restaurant that had been Mom's favorite for decades. I'd booked the entire private dining room on the 3rd floor, the one with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city lights. Mom turned 70 today and she deserved something special. I arrived early wearing a simple navy dress and minimal jewelry. Nothing flashy. I'd learned years ago that my family noticed everything I wore, every dollar I spent, every choice I made. They had opinions about all of it. Claire. Mom's face lit up when she saw me in the lobby. Then her smile faltered slightly as she took in my outfit. Oh, I thought you might dress up more. It's a nice restaurant. I am dressed up, Mom. I hugged her carefully, mindful of her new silk blouse. Happy birthday. Thank you, sweetheart. She patted my shoulder then looked past me. Is David coming? David was my ex-husband. We'd been divorced for 3 years. No, Mom. Just family tonight. Oh. Her disappointment was palpable. He always knew how to celebrate properly. My brother Marcus arrived next, stepping out of his leased BMW with his wife Jennifer. Marcus wore a suit that probably cost 3 months of what he thought I made. Jennifer's dress sparkled with what she told everyone were real diamonds. Claire. Marcus nodded at me. Surprised you could make it. Thought you'd be working late at that little office job. I requested the evening off. I kept my voice pleasant. Mom's birthday is important. Well, hopefully you can at least chip in for drinks. Jennifer's laugh was bright and cutting. We know your budget is tight. My sister Amanda arrived with her husband Robert and their 2 teenage children. Amanda took one look at the restaurant's entrance and squealed. Meridian. Oh my God, Marcus, you shouldn't have. Actually, I made the reservation, I said quietly. Everyone turned to stare at me. You. Amanda's perfectly shaped eyebrows rose. Claire, this place is like $300 per person. Minimum. I'm aware. Marcus laughed, not kindly. Claire, be serious. There's no way you can afford this. I made the reservation. I just let you think you did so you'd feel included. I received a confirmation email. From my account, probably. The staff must have mixed something up. He was already walking toward the entrance. Don't worry about it. Jennifer and I will handle the bill. You can Venmo me $50 later or something. The hostess greeted us warmly. Good evening. Party of 8 for Chin. That's us, Marcus said smoothly, stepping forward. I'm Marcus Chin. I made the reservation. The hostess glanced at her tablet, a small wrinkle appearing between her brows. I have the reservation under Claire Chin, actually. That's my sister. There must be some confusion. I'm the one who... The private dining room on the 3rd floor, correct? The hostess smiled at me. Right this way, Ms. Chin. Marcus's jaw tightened, but he followed as we were led to the elevator. In the confined space, I could feel the weight of my family's collective judgment. Private dining room? Jennifer whispered loudly. Claire, seriously, how are you paying for this? I have savings, I said simply. Amanda snorted. From what? You're a secretary. Administrative assistant, I corrected gently. There's a difference. Barely, Robert muttered. The elevator doors opened to reveal the 3rd floor, our floor. The entire space had been transformed with white orchids and candles. Soft piano music played from hidden speakers. The long table was set with crystal and china, each place setting probably worth more than my family assumed I made in a month. Mom gasped. Oh, Claire. This is too much. It's your 70th birthday, Mom. Nothing is too much. But the cost. She was already looking at Marcus, her expression worried. Marcus, honey, are you sure about this? I didn't arrange this, Marcus said flatly, staring at me. Apparently Claire has been hiding some secret sugar daddy or something. Marcus. Mom looked shocked, but I noticed she didn't exactly defend me. What? Come on, Mom. Look at this place. Look at her life. She drives a 10-year-old Honda. She lives in a 1-bedroom apartment in an okay neighborhood. She shops at Target. He counted off each point on his fingers like presenting evidence. Now suddenly she can drop $5,000 on a birthday dinner? Maybe she saved up, Mom offered weakly, but her tone suggested she didn't believe it either. For years. For this. Amanda was walking around the room, touching the silk curtains, examining the floral arrangements. This isn't just expensive. This is obscenely expensive. Claire, if you're in some kind of trouble if you borrowed money from the wrong people. I didn't borrow anything. I took my seat at the table, smoothing my napkin across my lap. Can we just enjoy Mom's birthday? Not until you explain this. Marcus remained standing, arms crossed. Seriously, Claire. What's going on? Did you max out credit cards? Take out a loan. I made a reservation and provided a credit card. That's all. Which will probably bounce, Jennifer Stage whispered to Amanda. A waiter appeared with champagne, Dom Perignon, the 2008 vintage. I'd selected it specifically because Mom had mentioned once years ago that she'd tried it at a wedding and loved it. Oh. Mom's eyes went wide when she saw the label. Claire, no. This bottle alone is probably $400, Marcus finished. Per bottle. How many did you order? Enough for toasts, I said calmly. Please everyone sit. Let's celebrate. They sat, but the atmosphere was tense. As champagne was poured, I could see my family doing mental calculations, their expressions growing more concerned and suspicious with each passing moment. To Mom, I raised my glass. 70 years of strength, grace and love. Happy birthday. To Mom, everyone echoed, but their eyes stayed on me. The first course arrived. Seared scallops with truffle foam and microgreens. Amanda photographed her plate immediately, probably for social media, but I noticed she didn't tag the location. Wouldn't want people asking how her secretary's sister afforded Meridian. So Claire. Robert cut into his scallop with surgical precision. How's work? Still with that small consulting firm? Yes. It's going well. What exactly do you do there again? Jennifer asked. Like file papers? Answer phones. I coordinate projects and manage client communications. So, secretary work. Marcus popped a scallop into his mouth. These are incredible, by the way. Probably $30 per scallop. Can we please stop talking about money? Mom pleaded. It's my birthday. We're just worried about Claire, Amanda said, reaching across to pat my hand. This isn't like you. This kind of spending. We're concerned you're having some kind of episode. You've been so stressed since the divorce. I'm not having an episode. I'm fine. Are you though? Marcus leaned forward. Because healthy people don't blow their entire savings, assuming you even have savings, on a single dinner. This feels manic, Claire. Impulsive. Maybe she finally got her act together, Robert suggested. Maybe she's been promoted or something. To what? Senior secretary. Jennifer giggled. I'm sorry, but that firm has like 12 employees. How much could they possibly pay? The second course arrived. Butter-poached lobster tail with saffron risotto. Mom made a small distressed sound when she saw it. Marcus, she whispered urgently. Maybe we should just order salads for the main course. Keep costs down. Mom, I already ordered the full tasting menu for everyone, I said. It's done. Just enjoy it. The tasting menu? Amanda's voice rose. Claire, that's the most expensive option. That's $400 per person before wine. I'm aware of the price. Then you're insane. Marcus slammed his hand on the table, making the crystal ring. I'm not watching you destroy yourself financially for some misguided attempt to prove something to us. I'm not trying to prove anything. Then what is this? He gestured around the room. What are you doing? I'm celebrating our mother's birthday. By bankrupting yourself? I'm not. You know what? No. Marcus stood abruptly. I'm not participating in this delusion. I'm going to talk to the manager right now and cancel the rest of this ridiculous order. We'll move to the main dining room and order normal meals like normal people. Marcus, please sit down, I said quietly. I will not sit down and watch my sister have a mental breakdown. His voice was getting louder now. The waiters hovering near the kitchen entrance exchanged glances. You clearly need help, Claire. Professional help. This isn't normal behavior. I agree, Amanda chimed in. This is scary actually. Who spends money like this when they can barely afford rent? I can afford my rent. Can you? Jennifer challenged. Can you really? Because I've seen your apartment, Claire. It's not exactly luxury living. No doorman, no amenities, coin laundry in the basement. Meanwhile, you're spending thousands of dollars on one dinner. It's Mom's 70th birthday. It's financial suicide. Marcus was pacing now. And I'm not going to enable it. I'm going downstairs right now to fix this mess. He stormed toward the elevator. Jennifer jumped up to follow him, then Amanda and Robert. Even the teenagers looked uncomfortable, muttering excuses as they trailed after their parents. Mom and I sat alone at the beautiful table, the half-eaten lobster cooling on our plates. Claire. Mom's voice was so gentle, so pitying. Honey, if you're having money troubles, you can tell me. Is this about David? Are you trying to prove something because of the divorce? No, Mom. Because he did very well for himself. I know that must be hard to see. Him with his new wife, the big house, the trips. She reached over and squeezed my hand. But you don't have to compete with that. You don't have to pretend to be something you're not. I'm not pretending. Then where did this money come from? Her eyes were worried, almost fearful. Did you? Claire, you didn't do anything illegal, did you? That hurt more than everything else combined. My own mother, wondering if I'd committed crimes to pay for her birthday dinner. No, Mom. I didn't do anything illegal. Then I don't understand. Before I could respond, the elevator doors opened. Marcus strode out and I could see the manager walking beside him, a tall man in an impeccable suit named Richard. I'd spoken with Richard a dozen times over the past month while planning tonight. There she is, Marcus pointed at me. That's my sister. She's the one who made this insane reservation. Richard's expression was professionally neutral. Sir, I'm aware of Ms. Chen's reservation. Well, I need you to cancel it. The rest of it, I mean. We're done here. Send us the bill for what we've already eaten, and we'll move this party somewhere more reasonable. I'm afraid I can't do that, sir. What do you mean you can't? I'm a customer. I'm requesting service changes. You're not the customer who made the reservation. Richard's tone remained polite but firm. Miss Chen booked this room and the full tasting menu. Any changes would need to be authorized by her. She's not in a position to authorize anything. She's clearly having some kind of crisis. Marcus's face was reddening. Look, I don't know what she told you, but whatever credit card she gave you is probably going to be declined. I'm trying to save you and her a lot of trouble here. The card has already been charged and approved, sir. Well then run it again. Test it. You'll see. Marcus, please. I stood up. You're making a scene. I'm making a scene? I'm making a scene. He whirled on me. You're the one pretending to be rich. You're the one throwing money you don't have at a dinner party like you're some kind of... Sir. Richard's voice cut through Marcus's rant, sharp now. I'm going to need you to lower your voice. You're disturbing other guests. Other guests? We're the only ones up here. There are private dining rooms on either side of this space and several tables directly below us. Your voice is carrying. I don't care. This is fraud. Consumer fraud. My sister is committing fraud and you're helping her. Jennifer grabbed Marcus's arm. Honey, maybe we should just... No. He shook her off. I'm not leaving until this gets sorted out. I want to speak to whoever owns this place. Get me the owner. Now. Richard's expression flickered, just for a moment, and I saw him glance at me. I gave him the slightest nod. The owner. Richard repeated carefully. Yes, the owner. Someone with actual authority who can see what's happening here. I see. Richard pulled out his phone. One moment, sir. He stepped away, speaking quietly into the device. Marcus turned to face me, triumph written across his features. This is going to be so embarrassing for you, he said. When the owner gets here and realizes you've been lying. I haven't been lying about anything. You've been lying about everything. Your whole life is a lie. You pretend you're fine with your mediocre job and your sad little apartment, but then you pull something like this. What were you thinking? That we'd be impressed? That we'd suddenly think you were successful? I never said I was successful. No, you just tried to show it. With money you don't have. He laughed harshly. God, this is so pathetic, Claire. Even for you, this is pathetic. Amanda and Robert had returned to the room, drawn by the shouting. They stood near the elevator watching. Is the owner coming? Amanda asked. Apparently, Jennifer said. This should be good. Mom looked like she might cry. Please everyone, can we just go? This was supposed to be a nice evening. It's about to get a lot worse for Claire, Marcus said. Trust me. Richard ended his call and walked back toward us. His expression was completely professional, completely unreadable. "The owner will speak with you now," he said. "Finally." Marcus crossed his arms. "Where is he? When is he getting here?" "She's already here, sir." Richard turned slightly. "Miss Chin, would you like to address your brother's concerns?" The room went completely silent. Marcus blinked. "What?" "Miss Claire Chin owns Meridian," Richard said calmly. "She has owned it for 4 years. She's also the principal owner of the Meridian Group, which operates 6 other restaurants in the city. I'm the general manager and I report directly to her." I watched the color drain from Marcus's face. "That's..." He looked at me, then at Richard, then back at me. "That's not possible." "I assure you it's quite possible," Richard continued. "Miss Chin purchased Meridian shortly after her divorce. She's been very hands-off as an owner, preferring to let the management team run daily operations, but she's here several times a month to review finances and operations." "Claire." Mom's voice was barely a whisper. "Is this true?" I took a breath. "Yes." "You own this restaurant?" Amanda looked like someone had slapped her. "This restaurant. And 6 others." I kept my voice steady. "The Meridian Group includes Meridian, Copper and Oak, the Garden Room, Saltwater, Provisions, Blueprint, and as of last month, Henrietta's Table." "That's..." Robert was doing mental math, his lips moving. "That's half the best restaurants in the city." 7 of the best, I corrected gently. "There's competition, obviously." Marcus was shaking his head slowly, like he could physically deny reality. No, this is some kind of joke. Some kind of..." "Richard, is she paying you to say this?" Richard's expression went cold. "Sir, I'm going to pretend you didn't just accuse me of accepting bribes. Miss Chin is absolutely the owner. I can provide documentation if you'd like, though I don't appreciate having my professional integrity questioned. But she's a secretary." Jennifer's voice was shrill. "She drives a Honda." "I'm an investor," I said quietly. "I work as a consultant because I enjoy the work and the flexibility. The restaurants run themselves for the most part. And I drive a Honda because it's reliable and I don't particularly care about cars. Your apartment," Amanda started, "is convenient to my office and has a month-to-month lease. I own 2 other properties, a condo downtown that I rent out and a house in the suburbs that I'm renovating." The silence that followed was deafening. Mom's hands were trembling. "Why didn't you tell us?" "I tried to, Mom. After the divorce, when David's lawyer was claiming I'd contributed nothing to the marriage, remember? I mentioned I'd made some investments. You said I was being defensive and that David was right to keep everything since he was the breadwinner. But you didn't say you owned restaurants. You didn't ask. You assumed I'd failed. I looked around at my family. You all did. And when I tried to explain, you talked over me. You told me to be realistic. You said I needed to accept my limitations." Marcus found his voice. "Claire, if this is true..." "It is true, sir," Richard interjected. "And I have to say, in 4 years of working for Ms. Chin, I've never seen her bring personal matters into this restaurant. The fact that she's allowing this conversation at all is generous." "Generous?" Marcus's laugh was slightly hysterical. "She's been lying to us for 4 years. I haven't lied once. I just stopped trying to convince you of things you'd already decided weren't true." I turned to Richard. "Thank you. I think we're ready for the next course." "Claire, wait." Mom reached for me. "The owner wants to discuss your behavior." Richard's voice was pleasant but firm, his eyes on Marcus. "Sir, you've spent the last 30 minutes in my restaurant insulting Ms. Chen. You've accused her of fraud, implied she's mentally unstable, and suggested she's involved in illegal activities. You've raised your voice repeatedly despite being asked to stop. You've disrupted what was meant to be a milestone celebration." Marcus's face went from white to red. "I didn't know. You didn't ask." Richard pulled out a tablet. "You assumed. And based on those assumptions, you felt entitled to berate her publicly, to question her choices, and to attempt to override her decisions in her own establishment. Her own right. God." Marcus sank into a chair. "This is insane." "What's insane," I said quietly, "is that even now you're not apologizing. You're not asking questions. You're just reacting. What do you want me to say, Claire? Congratulations on secretly being rich." I want you to think about why it had to be secret. Why I couldn't tell you. Why I stopped trying. Jennifer was scrolling frantically on her phone. Oh my God. Oh my God, Marcus, she's listed on the business registrations. Claire Chin, principal owner, Meridian Group Holdings LLC. Estimated value. She looked up, her face pale. Marcus, the estimated value is $40 million. 40. Amanda sat down hard. Million. The restaurants are worth that, yes. Plus the properties they're on. I own the buildings for Meridian, Saltwater, and Blueprint outright. I kept my voice even, factual. My net worth is higher when you factor in other investments. Robert let out a low whistle. How much higher? That's private. You're a multimillionaire, Mom said faintly. My daughter is a multimillionaire and I didn't know. I tried to tell you, Mom. Multiple times. When did you try? Last Christmas, when you asked why I wasn't dating anyone successful. I said I was doing fine on my own and you laughed and said fine wasn't the same as successful. At Easter, when Marcus was bragging about his promotion, I mentioned I'd had a good quarter with my investments. You said that was nice and changed the subject to Amanda's new car. At your birthday last year, when you said you wished I'd make something of myself like my siblings, I started to explain about the restaurants. You interrupted to ask if I'd remembered to bring the potato salad. Each example landed like a stone in still water. I could see the ripples of memory crossing their faces. I thought. Mom's eyes were filling with tears. I thought you were just trying to make yourself feel better. I thought you were being defensive about the divorce. I was being honest. You weren't listening. Richard cleared his throat gently. Miss Chin, the kitchen would like to know if we should proceed with the main course. Yes, please. I looked at my family. Does anyone want to leave? I won't stop you. But if you stay, we're going to finish Mom's birthday dinner. No more discussions about money. No more insults. We're going to celebrate her turning 70, which was the entire point of tonight. Nobody moved. I'll stay, Mom said finally, her voice small. If you still want me to. Of course I do. It's your birthday, Mom. Marcus stood up slowly. Claire, I don't even know what to say. Then don't say anything. Just sit down and eat your dinner. But we need to talk about this. About everything. About why you didn't. Not tonight, Marcus. Tonight is about Mom. He looked like he wanted to argue, but Jennifer grabbed his arm and pulled him back to his seat. Amanda and Robert followed suit, moving like sleepwalkers. The teenagers looked completely bewildered but sat down when their parents did. Richard nodded at me, a gesture of understanding, and disappeared toward the kitchen. The main course arrived 10 minutes later. Perfectly cooked filet mignon with roasted vegetables and potato gratin. A server I recognized, Thomas, who'd been with Meridian since before I bought it, poured wine with steady hands, his expression carefully neutral. We ate in near silence. Amanda picked at her food. Jennifer kept staring at me like I'd grown a second head. Marcus looked like he was performing complex calculations in his head, probably trying to figure out exactly how much money I had and what it meant for his position as the successful sibling. Only Mom actually ate, taking small, deliberate bites, tears running quietly down her face. The food is wonderful, she said finally. Really wonderful, Claire. I'm glad you like it, Mom. I always have. I used to bring your father here for anniversaries before he passed. Before it got so expensive. Before. She trailed off. Before I thought I couldn't afford it anymore. You mentioned that once. That's why I bought it. She looked up sharply. What? When you told me about Dad bringing you here, about how special it was. You said you hadn't been back in years because it wasn't for people like us anymore. I decided that wasn't true. So I bought it. I wanted you to be able to come here whenever you wanted and feel like you belonged. Fresh tears spilled over. You bought a restaurant for me? I bought it for a lot of reasons. But that was one of them. I reached over and squeezed her hand. You do belong here, Mom. You always have. I didn't know, she whispered. Claire, I didn't know any of this. About the restaurants, about the money, about any of it. You should have told me. I tried. You should have tried harder. Maybe. I withdrew my hand gently. Or maybe you should have listened better. The rest of dinner passed in a blur. Dessert arrived. A custom birthday cake I'd ordered from Meridian's pastry chef, decorated with sugar flowers that matched the fresh orchids around the room. We sang Happy Birthday. Mom blew out the candles. Everyone pretended things were normal. But nothing was normal. Nothing would be normal again. As we prepared to leave, Richard approached with a leather folder containing the bill. Out of habit or maybe spite, Marcus reached for it. "Don't worry about it, sir," Richard said smoothly. "Miss Chin has already settled the account." "Of course she has," Marcus muttered. "It's her restaurant." "Several times over at this point," Richard agreed. His tone was pleasant, but I caught the edge in it. Richard had never liked Marcus even before tonight. Marcus had been rude to servers on previous visits, the kind of casual disrespect that revealed character. In the elevator down, Jennifer finally spoke. "Claire, I'm sorry. About what I said earlier. About everything. Thank you. I had no idea. We all had no idea." "I know. But why?" Amanda burst out. "Why keep it secret? Why let us think you were struggling?" "I wasn't keeping it secret. I was living my life. You all just made assumptions and never checked if they were true." The elevator doors opened to the ground floor. Outside, the city sparkled. Marcus's BMW was parked at the curb, and I could see the valet hovering nearby. "So what now?" Robert asked. "Do we just pretend tonight didn't happen?" "We acknowledge it happened," I said. "We acknowledge that for 4 years, you all assumed I was failing at life. You made jokes. You offered pity. You never once considered that I might actually be doing well because I didn't perform success the way you expected." "That's not fair," Marcus protested. "You deliberately hid things." "I lived quietly. There's a difference." "Is there?" he challenged. "Because from where I'm standing, this feels like some kind of sick test. Like you were waiting to see how badly we'd treat you before revealing the truth. Like you wanted to humiliate us. If you feel humiliated, that's on you. I just wanted to have a nice dinner for Mom's birthday. In a restaurant you secretly own. That's calculated, Claire. It's her favorite restaurant. Of course I chose it." I looked at him steadily. "Would you prefer I took her to Applebee's to match your expectations of what I could afford?" He opened his mouth, then closed it. No response. Mom hugged me carefully like I might break. "Thank you for tonight, sweetheart. It was beautiful. Really beautiful. Happy birthday, Mom. We'll talk soon? About everything?" "Sure, Mom." But I could hear the doubt in my own voice, and I knew she heard it too. I watched them drive away. Marcus and Jennifer in the BMW, Amanda and Robert in their Lexus, Mom in the back seat looking small and confused. The teenagers had barely said 2 words all night. Richard appeared at my elbow. "Well, that was dramatic. Sorry for bringing family drama into the restaurant. Please. This is the most entertainment I've had in months." He paused. "Though I have to say, Miss Chin, I'm surprised you let it go on that long. I kept hoping they'd figure it out themselves." "Did you really? Or were you curious to see how far they'd take it?" I considered the question honestly. "Maybe both. For what it's worth, I think you handled it well. Very restrained. I'd have had them thrown out after the first 5 minutes. They're family. Family who spent 4 years assuming you were a failure." "Yeah." I looked up at Meridian's facade, at the warm light spilling from the windows, at the name I'd chosen when I bought it. "They did." My phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. "We need to talk. This changes everything." But it didn't change everything. Changed nothing really. I was the same person I'd been this morning, this afternoon, this evening when they were calling me pathetic. The only difference was they knew the truth now. And somehow that felt more lonely than the assumptions ever had. Richard was watching me with concern. "You okay, boss?" "Yeah," I said. "I'm fine." And the strange thing was, I actually meant it. Another text came through. Then another. Amanda apologizing. Jennifer asking questions. Robert suggesting we all sit down and discuss this like adults. I turned my phone to silent and slipped it into my purse. Tomorrow there would be conversations. Explanations. Probably demands. For loans, for investments, for the kind of help they'd never offered when they thought I needed it. There would be awkward family dinners where everyone pretended tonight hadn't happened, or worse, dinners where it was all anyone could talk about. But tonight I walked to my 10-year-old Honda, drove to my convenient 1-bedroom apartment, and slept the sleep of someone who'd finally stopped trying to prove something to people determined not to see. And when I woke up the next morning to 17 missed calls and 43 text messages, I made coffee, opened my laptop, and got back to work managing my restaurant empire, one quiet, unremarkable day at a time. Because that was the thing they still didn't understand. I'd never wanted their recognition. I just wanted them to stop assuming I needed their pity.